little cold this morning. They don't turn the heat on until 7 o'clock, so that's why I'm still bundled up. But it's elves versus reindeer day, so you can see. Oh, there's my alarm to usually wake up. This is the time I usually have to wake up. Um, but you can see my little elf preview. All right, so it's elves versus reindeer day. I hope that the alphas that are coming in today are dressed up like I am. Omega people, you're coming in tomorrow. You got a chance to dress up as an elf or a reindeer. I'm not going to tell you if I'm going to be an elf again or a reindeer tomorrow, but good luck. This week we are working on division again, but we're adding a decimal layer. We're going to start working with our decimals and start dividing decimals. So it's going to get a little bit, we're shifting it a little bit, and then we're going to start with like place value charts and unit form, and we'll shift into that standard algorithm that we were just working on with our whole numbers. What else do I have to tell you from the weekend? I'm ready for summer already. This is our last full week before break. Friday, I will not be here. I have an appointment. Wednesday, we have a Zoom at 1:20. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Oh, grades are due for me today. So that means grade books were ended for you on Friday, which means report cards should be coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really proud of all the work you guys have been doing. And without further ado, let's get going. I've probably been already talking for 2 minutes. But good morning. Hope you're doing well. Let's get going. So today with division, we're going to start with thinking about, let's think about a place value chart. Let me switch to the next page. Let me get a background for us. All right. So let's just quickly create a place value chart. And let's have tenths and hundredths in this. We'll start with that. We'll add ones, tens, hundreds. So here we are. We're going to start fairly small, but we're going to just use a place value chart to kind of talk about this because today we're going to be just dividing by multiples of 10 and 100. So let's just think about our first expression, 54 divided by 10. Now remember, that would mean that we would have 5 in the tens place, right? And 4 in the ones place. And if we're dividing by 10, we know that when we divide by 10, we're just shifting in our place value chart places to the right, one place to the right, because it's just dividing by 10. So that means we'll have 5 ones and 4 tens. Great, so 5 and 4 tens. But if we want to divide that again, 5.4 divided by 10, again, we can just keep shifting in the place values, right? We just shift it once, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 54 or 5.4 divided by 10. Whoa, I can't even write this morning. Come on, guys. Divided by 10 is actually, well, there's now 0 ones, 5 tenths, and 4 hundredths. So what if we did 54 hundredths? What if we now took that purple number disk and tried to divide that by 10 again? Well, let's think about that. If we have 54 hundredths and we're dividing that by 10, well, we would need that thousandths place there, wouldn't we? And we would need to shift one more place over, but it would be 5 in the hundredths and 4 in the thousandths. But is there any in the tenths place? No, so it would be 0.054. So that's pretty simple, or straightforward, I should say. Not simple, but I'm taking off my jacket if you hear anything. When we're dividing by 10, we're just shifting place value, okay? But what happens, we're not just gonna be dividing by 10 in fifth grade. So let's just clear that. And let's think about, well, let's still use 54. Let's still use 54, but this time instead of dividing by 10, let's divide by 90. So it's still a multiple of 10, but there's ways that we can break down 90. What is 90 if we break it down into the multiples of 10? Well, it's 10 groups of 9 or 9 groups of 10, right? So perfect. So now we can really kind of think about this in a different way. We can break this apart in a different way. So now we could do 54 divided by 9 divided by 10. And we're going to start with the 54 divided by 9 because that's a basic fact. So 54 divided by 9 is what? Well, that would be 6. And then we're dividing that by 10. So that would equal, well, you think about your place value chart, right? And I'll put this as my ones place and this is my tenths place. If I had 6 in the ones place, well, now they're going to become 6/10. So 0.6. So sometimes we're going to have to visualize that place value chart. They wanted me to have you draw a number disc. And I think we can just shift our brains right into place value charts because that's what we spend a lot of time with this beginning of the year. Well, what if you wanted to divide, could you do the 54 divided by 10 and then divide it by 9? Let's just show that in a different way, see if we get the same answer. Now, I always like doing the 9 first and the 10 last, but it doesn't matter, and I'll show you. So 54 divided by 10, so if I was thinking about 5 in the tens place, 4 in the ones place, that would become 5.4. And then we're going to divide that by 9. Well, this is where we got to still think 5 and 4 tenths. Oh no, I don't know what to do. But if I think about it as unit form, 54 tenths or divided by 9, well, that's just going to become 54 divided by 9, which is 6, which is tenths because we keep the unit. So 6/10 and 6/10, they're equal. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but I like to divide first and then start shifting those place value by dividing by my multiples of 10. Wow, I really feel clunky in my speaking. Maybe it's because it's 6 in the morning. All right, let's try another one. And then we'll just do a couple that are like on our place value chart. I'm sorry, on our problem set. Well, let's do 50. We did 54 divided by 90. Let's do 5.4 divided by 90 now. So we're going to keep working on the same kind of digits because that'll make it easy just to get the steps down. So the first thing we want to do is we want to break apart the multiple of 10 to make our life easy. Well, we know the multiple of 10 is 90, and that can be broken up as 9 groups of 10 or 10 groups of 9. So now that we've broken that apart, we have to decide how we want to divide. Now, you can divide by the 10 first or the 9 first. It doesn't matter, whichever way you can see the math easier. If you're going to divide by the 9 first, turn it into unit form, right? So 5.4 divided by 9, well, that's 54 tenths divided by 9, so that would be 6/10. So to make my life easier, I'm just going to convert to unit form. So I don't really have to think about the decimal. I just have to think about the division, and then I can think about the decimal afterwards by using my unit knowledge. 54 divided by 9 is 6/10. Well, 54 divided by 9 is 9, or 6, and then tenths comes over. Well, 6/10 is 0.6. Well, we're not done because we only divided by 9. Now I need to do 0.6 divided by 10. Well, I know that I'm just shifting digits to the right in my place value chart. So I just know that 0.6 is going to go to the hundredths place, which means there's a 0 in the tenths place. So 5.4 divided by 90 is really 6/100. All right, so let's go ahead and try it again. But this time let's do 54 hundredths divided by 90. So 0.54 divided by 90. So again, we're still divided by 90. So we still know that that's a 10 and a 9. This time I'm going to divide by 9 or the 10 first, just to show you that you can go either way. So we have 54 hundredths. If we divide 54 hundredths by 10, first, and then divide by 9. We know that 54 hundredths, well, if we just shift those digits one place to the right, just means the 5 tenths is going to the hundredths, the 4 hundredths is going to the thousandths. So now we have 54 thousandths divided by 9. And this is where I'm going to think unit form. 54 thousandths. Well, I know what 54 divided by 9, thousandths divided by 9 is. 54 divided by 9 is 6, so we keep our unit. And 6 thousandths, if I convert that back to standard form, 0. Well, there's 0 in the tenths, 0 in the hundredths, 6 in the thousandths. So remember, if you can't remember exactly which digit or which place the digit goes in, try to talk yourself through your knowledge. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, right? All right, so let's do 2 more practices and then let's shift over to our problem set. All right, 54 divided by, well, let's do 900. Let's change the multiples. Instead of doing multiplying by 10, let's multiply by, or multiply, breaks. It's a divisions. 54 divided by 900. So instead of dividing by tens or multiples of 10, let's try dividing by 100. So that means instead of shifting one place to the right in our place value, we're going to shift twice because there's 2 zeros. So now that we're thinking about 54 divided by 900, well, 900 breaks down into 100 groups of 9. So same steps. So let's rewrite our expression. Now again, remember, you can divide by 100 first, or you could divide by 9 first. It's up to you. I'm actually going to show it in both ways to show that it still gives you the same answer regardless. It depends on how your brain likes to work. Either way that you choose, you just need to follow the steps. So the first step is to write the expression with the broken down multiple of 100. So 54 divided by 100, well, I know I'm shifting those digits twice to the right when I divide by 100. So the ones are going to go to the hundredths and the tens are going to go to the tenths. So I have 54 hundredths divided by 9 for this first step. Now, I could write it out as unit form, but I'm going to just do it in my head. Well, I know 54 hundredths divided by 9 should equal 6 hundredths. So that's how we get it. But I had to convert it to unit form in my head to make sense of it. That way I was just working with the basic fact. Well, down here, let's show the steps for the other method when we divide by 9 first. 54 divided by 9, well, that's going to be 6. And then we're going to divide by 100. Well, if we think about that place value chart, right, ones, and then here's our tenths, and here's our hundredths. Well, if we have 6 here and we shift it twice, it's going to be 6 in the hundredths place. So either way, they become the same answer. So we just want to make sure that we're practicing and following the right steps. So you can choose which path you want to go as long as you're following the steps. Last one together. All right, 5.4 divided by 900. So now we're going to work with a decimal instead of 54. So again, we know that 900 is 100 groups of 9. So we can write it in the steps that we'd like to. So we can do 5.4 divided by 100 divided by 9. And remember to place your parentheses to show which fact you're working with first. And I'm just going to set it up the other way for the other brains. And we're going to divide by 9 first and then divide by 100. So either way, you got to just set it up the correct way. Well, if I divide by 100s, I'm thinking about my place value chart, and I'm put my tenths, 100ths, 1000ths. So if I have 54 and I shift it twice, 1, 2, 4, and the 5. So that would mean I have 0 in the tens place, 5 in the hundreds, and 4 in the thousandths. And then I'm dividing by 9. Okay, well, that looks scary. But remember, let's just read it as a unit form. 54 And what place was it in? The thousandths, even though I forgot a zero up there. 54 thousandths divided by 9. So 54 apples divided by 9, again, is just 6 apples. So if we think about it is 54 thousandths, well, let's just make sure this 6 is in the thousandths place, and we're done. Well, let's go show that over here on the other style when we divide by 9 first and wait to use the multiple of 100 at the end. So 5.4 divided by 9, oof, that makes it hard too. But if we think about it in unit form, well, there's 54. The last digit that it's in the place value is tenths, so it's 54 tenths. And if we divide that, that's going to be 9 or 6 tenths. And we're going to divide that by 100. Well, 6 tenths, let me just go ahead and use a different color. If I put 6 in the tenths place and we divide it by 100, that's going to go 2 places. So it's going to put 6 in the thousandths. So again, regardless of which style you use, you get the same answer. And that's what's great about math to me. We can think about numbers in lots of different ways. And as long as we're using sound mathematical steps and practices, then we can get to the same answer. So your problem set, let's just take a look at it together. It looks like it's quite a bit of problem, but it's the same kind of problem. You're just working, you can see 2.4 divided by 4, and then it's 2.4 divided by 40. I'd like you to do both pages, first 2 pages. You do not need to do the word problems today. We'll practice those later this week. So first 2 pages on the problem set, and then you go to your exit ticket. Nice job this morning, and let me know if you need any help.